to make sense of this, let's have an editor with SportsIntel Nigeria, all the way from Lagos, Enitan Obadina, join us in this conversation. Thank you so much, Enitan, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Anytime we're worried here. I'm with Ibitayo, and we're a bit worried here about the faith of the under-17 boys, the Golden Eaglets. What does Nigeria's failure to qualify for the 2025 under-17 AFCON mean for the future of this nation's youth football? Because I'm looking ahead. These are boys that have gone to toil at the WAFU B competition, and now they're being told they will not be packing their bags to Morocco. It's so devastating. What does this mean for the future of youth football in Nigeria?
It will cost us a lot. I have to be honest with you. The first time when we did this, when we couldn't make it out of WAFU B qualifiers that happened in Ghana, I remember on SportsIntel.ng we did a story about the cost for this, because naturally the hope of your next generation of Super Eagles comes from the under-17. You can try, let's not go too much back. We can go as far back as 2013. Almost every between 2013 and 2015, if you check our current national team, you find players from that set making it. And attending the FIFA Under-17 World Cup was one of the biggest instruments. Not all of them, a healthy percentage. They were just enough to make it, to go up to the Super Eagles level. So the cost is very high. It means we have lost a generation of players that should have naturally replaced this current set of Super Eagles. And of course, for each of the players, it's a huge disappointment, because now they have to work double the effort, triple the effort, if you ask me, to make it to the world stage, to make their football dream come true. So the cost is very high for Nigeria as a nation, meaning we are missing out on a generation of talent. And of course, for the administrative, knowing that they have to do more work to find players, or we have to make players stay longer in the national team for other young boys to be able to replace them.
Yes, redeem themselves there. But let's see how Confederation of African Football have been able to, distribute. What is wrong with distribute? Come on, distribute the allocated sports. Of course, we have WAFU Zone A, the third place finishers. That's Gambia. They get to go to Morocco. Tottenham tournament host Tunisia. They get to go to the competition. Of course, Sakafa and Kosafa regions also, they've been given slots in that 16-team competition, which was originally before was 12, but now 16. So now it's expanded, and Nigeria will not be there. Ibitayo, this is worrisome. Anytime just, put the cards on the table. But I still got further questions. This is worrisome for the fact that this is an expanded format.
Yes, definitely. But if you're following CAF's trend, they know that WAFU B region is the strongest region in Africa, and that's the reason why the qualification was rejigged. Remember, it used to be by slots and then rankings and every other thing, and Nigeria used to play other teams from other regions. But now you have to qualify from your region, and when the powerhouses are in your region, you know that you just have to.
So doesn't this water down that regional qualification? Because if I finish first, second, third, why shouldn't I make it to the main competition?
But then again, yes, it waters it down. But then again, it also gives opportunity to other African regions who have been, of course, shortchanged, but whether you like it or not, because the WAFU region has been better. Now they have more opportunities and, of course, more representatives. So it's either you want more representative, all-inclusive for Africa, or you want the strongest, which you base on ranking and have the West African teams dominating, like we've done year in, year out before this qualification was rejigged.
Anita, I'm still worried.
But I do think this is problematic. If you ask me, Africa is getting 10 slots at the new expanded FIFA World Cup.
Yes.
And that expansion is coming on the work of WAFU B regions. Nigeria has won it 4 or 5 times. Ghana has won it about 3 or 4 times. And a few others from the West African region. And that is why, on merit, when FIFA was doing the redistribution after the expansion of the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, Africa could get that number of slots because of the merit of the performance of Africa as a competition, which was brought about mainly by West African teams. It is not a secret that they've been trying to get to that level of trying to balance, but you cannot forcefully balance football development via attending of competition alone. It takes a lot of work when it comes to grassroots development, and I've been talking about this for years, that breaking down the qualifiers to regional is more defeatist in nature, and it is not helping nations to develop to the capacity of the best in the continent, and Africa might be losing that merit advantage we had going forward if we keep dropping some of our best under-17 players, under-17 playing countries behind, just because we want to balance regional development.
Yeah, I don't know why we should be the one bearing the brunt, but long-term implication right now, Enitan, before I let you go, what is the long-term implication for Nigeria having to miss back-to-back World Cups for youth football, like the under-17 World Cup? Come on, what's long-term? Because we're not going to make it there to the AFCON. That means we'll not have our ticket to the World Cup. So it's just a clear indication there. So what's the long-term implication of this back-to-back absence? We're not in the last one.
The long-term implication is showing already. If you look at the last set of the under-20 team that won the WAFU qualifiers for the AFCON under-20, you barely see enough players from the under-17. That means progression is dying. If this next set of under-20 go to the AFCON, maybe by luck or by chance they make it to they make it to the World Cup. How many of them will eventually get to be picked? Because by the time you're approaching 18, 19, 20, the European chances are far in between. We need to get our players. One thing has always worked for us: we get our players at a young age out there, and they develop, they pick up experiences, and then they come back to deliver those experiences to us. But now we are missing out back to back. That means we are the next set of under 20. The coaches are doing a lot of test games. They are doing a lot of trials to get players to come, and then instead of just bringing half of the players from the under 17 and then merging it with other top talent that they discover. So it's a lot of work, and it will cost us a lot in the next few years. That's where we'll feel it.
Yes, we'll feel it indeed in the next few years, because I remember that the under-17 World Cup was where we saw the likes of Victor Osimhen, Samuel Chukwueze. They all made it there. Even Victor Boniface also was part of the team. Ibitayo, continuity. We're thinking that we'll move players from the ranks there to the senior men's national team, but no World Cup appearance, and this will really take a toll, like Enitan said. But going forward, what do you think the NFF should do?
Of course, intensify our coaches, getting them up to date. That's very key. Of course, our programs are quite archaic. We've said it times without number. They need to improve. We have to have a system. And if you look at the, I don't like using that term, but it is what it is, the senior clients, they have pool of players from the under 14 level to the under 15 level, from the schoolboys level, that you don't just randomly start doing trials for 1,000 boys to select 20 or 23 of them to go prosecute the game. They already have a pool of players. They know them from the age grade competitions. By the time it gets to under 17, you have an idea, okay, out of this 30, I'm getting my 20 out of the 30. It's easier that way, but you always rush to the answer. And unfortunately, when they fail, the system here in Nigeria is to throw away the baby with the bathwater. That's why we don't lose. Even the player might be promising, but if he fails to qualify, we forget about him entirely, because we don't have a pool, and we don't have a system that's been tracking him. And we know that despite this team failing, this boy can fail forward.
A good transition system also fails here. And it's our final before we let you go. What should the NFF do? Ibitayo just laid the cards for NFF. Can they take it? Can they play?
I think that's the best choice. We have to restructure. Currently, the NFF do have a national under 15 team, but they are hot today, cold tomorrow. It depends on when they get invitational tournament. So it's a bit problematic because we do not have it properly structured. The last under 15 that worked for Nigeria was the Kelechi Iheanacho set. Kelechi, Chidera Eze, Awoni, a few of them were in that under 15 set that got promoted to the 2013. But since then, the under 15 has not really worked the way it should work. So they need to really structure it. And I hope that the news about them building an hotel and the training pitches will also make it easy for them to camp boys for longer time, especially during the summer holidays. Pull some of the talent together and we'll keep developing them. Also, they need to tap into the CAF Secondary School Championship that was recently introduced a few years back. We've not qualified for the main African Cup because the NFF has not taken control or ownership of that aspect. They are just working with a few schools. They need to expand it and see if we can get them early out of the secondary schools into the national, to the CAF Secondary School Championship, and of course, they graduate to the under 17.
All right, I'm hoping that the Nigerian Football Federation should play, as we've just stated. Thank you so much, Enitan Obadina, for your thoughts on the show. I'm hoping they can take this one, get to nip it to the board, get to plan and develop talent from the early age, especially from the under 17. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.